stage and sacred. Wanna say all the priest warriors and traitors distilled for Jali, Rastafarian.
Robert Nesta Marley, a devastating prophet of reggae, a man who spread messages of love, unity, and resistance through his music. But after his passing in 1981, his deeply rooted Rastafarian beliefs led to a bitter feud over his fortune, tearing apart the very people he loved. This is Raz Levy. Let's get into the story. Bob's journey was filled with struggles, but nothing prepared him for the battle against cancer. In 1977, he discovered a dark spot on his toe, something doctors urged him to remove. But as a devout Rastafarian, Bob refused amputation, believing in the natural path of healing. By the time he finally sought treatment, it was too late. The cancer had spread, reaching his brain, lungs, and liver. On May 11, 1981, at just 36 years old, Bob Marley passed away in a Miami hospital, leaving behind a wife, 11 children, and millions of fans who mourned his loss. But his death wasn't the end of his story. Instead, it was the beginning of a long and painful battle over his legacy. Bob Marley was worth an estimated $30 million when he died, a fortune built from his music. But despite his success, he never wrote a will. Some say he believed that planning for death meant inviting it. Others argue that Rastafarians see wills as instruments of Babylon, a tool of the corrupt system he fought against. Without legal instructions, Jamaican law decided how his fortune would be divided. His wife, Rita Marley, would receive only 10% of his assets and a 45% life interest, meaning she could use part of the estate while alive, but it wouldn't fully belong to her. The rest was split among his 11 children. This division created tension, but the real battle began when the money started flowing in. At the heart of the legal war was Bob's widow, Rita. She had stood by him through thick and thin, but after his death, she made a desperate move, one that would haunt her for years. With the help of Bob's accountant and lawyer, she allegedly forged his signature on documents to transfer control of his companies to herself. When the truth came out, the court ruled that over $13.4 million had been wrongfully moved. The lawyer and accountant were found guilty and forced to pay back $6 million. Rita, however, was not officially charged. Still, she lost something greater: her position as a trustee of Bob's estate. The betrayal left deep wounds within the family, making trust nearly impossible to rebuild. As the estate grew in value, so did the number of people fighting for a piece of it. Bob's former bandmates, business partners, and even distant relatives laid claim to his fortune. Island Records founder Chris Blackwell, the man who helped bring Bob to the world stage, even attempted to buy the estate. Meanwhile, publishing companies and music executives launched lawsuits over royalties, racking up millions in legal fees. Among those who fought for a share were some of Bob's own bandmates from the Wailers. Aston family man Barrett, the bassist and musical backbone of the group, filed a lawsuit in 2006, claiming he was owed millions in unpaid royalties for his contributions to Bob's music. His lawsuit, which sought £60 million, around $100 million at the time, argued that he and his late brother, drummer Carlton Barrett, were promised a share of the profits. However, the case was ultimately dismissed, with the court ruling that the money belonged to Bob Marley's estate, not his former bandmates. But perhaps the most heartbreaking casualty of these battles was Bob's own mother, Cedella Booker. She had been his rock, raising him in poverty in 9 Mile, Jamaica, and later supporting his rise to fame. Before his death, Bob had bought her a home in Miami, a token of his love and gratitude. But because the house was still in his name, the estate's lawyers argued it had to be sold. They sued to evict her, forcing Bob's mother to fight for a home her son had given her. In the midst of these legal struggles, Cedella was vocal about her frustration. She once stated in interviews that she believed Bob would have never wanted his loved ones to suffer over material wealth. She even went as far as to criticize those who controlled the estate, saying they had strayed from Bob's values of love and unity. Though she eventually reached a settlement allowing her to remain in her home, the legal battle was a painful reminder of how Bob's legacy had become entangled in corporate and family disputes. Despite the bitter courtroom battles, Bob's music continues to inspire people worldwide. But the question lingers, was this what he would have wanted? His songs spoke of breaking free from Babylon's system, yet his passing left his loved ones caught in the very system he warned again. And the legal wars didn't stop there. Even after years of courtroom battles, disputes over Bob's legacy continued. In 1991, a Jamaican court ruled that only his wife and children had the right to use his name and image. This ruling became a major issue years later when Bob's half-brother Richard Booker began using the Marley name for a music festival and guided tours of Bob's childhood home in 9 Mile. The Marley family sued him in 2011, proving that even decades after Bob's death, the fight over his name, music, and image was still far from over. Today, Bob Marley's estate has transformed into a multi-million-dollar empire, carefully controlling his music, brand, and legacy. From official merchandise to global business ventures, the Marley name is more valuable than ever. But the question remains, would Bob have wanted this? He sang about love, unity, and breaking free from Babylon's system. Yet, in the wake of his passing, his family and business associates found themselves trapped in endless legal disputes. But in the end, Bob's true legacy isn't found in court rulings or bank accounts. It lives on in the music, the songs that continue to uplift souls, inspire change, and spread the message of love and unity, just as he intended.